What's the long-term plan for USC? Like, are they going heavy portal out of necessity, or is it a choice? Because it seems like their strategy doesn't necessarily align with Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, like all of these teams aren't really building through the portal dramatically in the way USC seems to want to or need to. What's the plan?
I don't know. I think that the thing that's hard for USC is I don't know if there's a fully formed strategy there. I don't. I mean, I think one of the best things USC has done in 5 years was hire Jen Cohen. I think she is a really good AD. The people I know who worked with her respect her greatly. And I think that's the opposite of what they had hired, before her. And I think USC tends to be about, oh, there's a shiny object over there.
Right.
And it's USC. So some of it can work, but I have a story that I'm working on with our USC beat writer, Antonio Morales. And one of the points somebody has made to me is like, NIL is a little different where it is. And what they meant by that is, if you're in Los Angeles, you have a lot of distractions. If you're in Eugene, Oregon, or if you're in Corvallis, you can name a lot of cities where it's probably a little more manageable. I mean, USC this year was wildly dysfunctional. You had the most talented player in the country, and they went 7-5, and they're lucky it wasn't worse than that. That's kind of mind blowing. And I don't know, like, I don't have a great feel for what this is going to look like going forward at USC. I think Lincoln's really smart. I'm curious to see what the direction of, you have like 3 collectives at USC. I feel like there's one that has a little more of the most favored nation status, but there's probably, I don't know how much alignment you have there. And to me, that's a big challenge. You obviously have staff shakeup. I like Dan Lin. I think he's a really smart young coach, and he did really well at UCLA. Now, to be honest, he's probably had better players at UCLA on the D line than what he's going to have right now. I mean, he did not have. There was nobody who was like Latu. I mean,
right.
Somehow, the things didn't go the way they did with the medical situation. Latu's still at Washington, and they probably win the playoff if they have him. Because
right.
They already have 2 terrific defensive ends, but you have him. And
he medically retired, though, from Washington, right? I think that's what it was.
He had to be. He was not able to play.
Right. Okay.
They wouldn't clear him, and then the medical situation. They had another doctor who cleared him that went through certain things. I mean, to me, he was the most dominant defensive player. This wasn't like a Ndamukong Suh kind of year for college football, but I would argue he was as good a defensive player as there was. So, but they got after people. They had really, I thought they had a good D line, and I think Denton could do well. It's just I did this big story in the summer for The Athletic about the life of an air raid defensive coordinator, because we talk a lot on our podcast about like who the good defensive coordinators are. And I said to Stu, I was like, who do you think is good? Because chances are who you think is good probably works at a place where everybody hates the offensive coordinator. It's not a coincidence.